like it is going. Hi everyone, TigerHawk3 here. As you will notice, there's no Notepad++ window, and there's no game. Today I have a different kind of stream. It would be a programming stream, but wasn't really sure what to do in that in the first place. And I have something better, more topical for today. So, yesterday, I got a new phone. Backstory. I'm trying to learn Android development, and it's a little difficult to do without an Android device. Now, I actually have an Android device, but it's a tablet-like thing. It's a mini PC on an x86 platform. So I can build my applications as APK files and put them on a USB flash drive and move them over to the mini PC and run them, and that's cool. But if the app doesn't work, if it has a bug of some kind, then it just says application crashed, and that's it. It's very nice and friendly, but it doesn't tell me, this function tried to access that element that doesn't exist, couldn't find the name, etc. Right? And then you can fix that. There's no traceback by default. I tried looking up methods to connect such a device, to no avail. Tried using the emulator, didn't work because my computer does not use an Intel chip, which has hardware acceleration. So I was relying on the software, the full software emulator, which is the whole point of an emulator, really, to not need specific hardware. So that is ungodly slow. I would wait like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then there's the image of the device with the screen, and it looks like it's starting up. Then wait another 10-15 minutes, and nothing seems to happen. So emulators don't really work. It worked like once or twice for something really simple, but as a consistent thing, is just not reliable. Emulator, no worky. And then I tried to view the traceback on this mini PC itself, and that doesn't work either. I got a terminal app, used that, and tried to access the log files that the debugger should make, the ADB, Android debugger, and that didn't work either. Just gave me a cryptic little error message. What was that error message? Let me look it up. It told me, I made a question about it on Stack Overflow. How do I view a traceback without a connected device? And the Android and ADB tags, no activity other than myself, no upvotes. I thought it was a reasonable question. It says daemon not running, starting it now on port 5038, and then daemon started successfully, and then waiting for device. Nothing else happens. I don't know why. Couldn't get anything to happen in a useful manner. And there are no suggestions or recommendations on my question, which I can link to you. It will be in an annotation and the description. Actually, I can just, don't I have Notepad? Do I have Notepad somewhere here? I can just turn that on. Is that somewhere? Let me bring it up. Where is it? Oh, it's not up. Here we are. So it is. Here is the link. and I will put an annotation in here at 5 minutes in. Okay. So nothing on that. Couldn't find out how to view a traceback. And it's kind of important. If you've seen my Python streams, sometimes I run a program and it doesn't work, and then I read the traceback and I see why it doesn't work. It's necessary to see error messages. So I figured I would need a phone, I guess. And I was first looking into these smaller Chinese brands like Huawei and Xiaomi and Elephone, all the way, down the rabbit hole of small manufacturers, LeTV, Fire the missiles at I'm tired with LeTV. I don't know. Anyway, so my dad's like, don't do that. Just buy the big brand names that everyone gets. So I had thought I had found a nice little small brand thing for like 300-ish, a little more, with shipping and extras. It would have been like about $350. I say it's about $350. And then I noticed that this phone is being sold by the Loch Ness Monster. No. So instead of doing that, I just got a Galaxy, which I think I mentioned in yesterday's stream. And I got an S7 Edge, which is a beautiful phone. I have it here, I can show you. And it's it's one of these things. Very, very beautiful phone, right? With the thing, and it's got fingerprint unlocking. Wow. But it's it can make calls and receive calls. I value that in a cell phone, which my old phone could do. And my old phone was free with contract in some way. It did not cost any money, and these things are about a little over 800. I live in California, so add tax, get to about 900. I was all set to buy about $100 worth of batteries and wireless charging pads and case on Amazon. So that's nearly $1,000 worth of phone-ish stuff. But I tried to use it and it didn't work very well. I made a litany of errors. So I bought it yesterday, just took it out of the box and charged it up. And then today I went to the AT&T store. I'm on AT&T, and activated it, and they kind of helped me through that process. So first thing was there's the fingerprint reader, right? At first we couldn't get that to work. I put my thumb on it after like scanning the fingerprint and saving it in memory, and it didn't work. It was just like swipe on the screen and it unlocks. Turns out there was another option somewhere to actually activate it. I didn't see what it was. The AT&T salesperson kind of was rooting around in there and found it for me. So that was interesting. And they were like, why doesn't this work? And kind of digging around, trying to see what was up. Yesterday, rewind a bit, I almost forgot part of the thing that I was going to say. Quick start guide. Can you see there? Involuted. They always use the charger involuted. On QWERTY keyboards, the C and V keys are right next to each other. It's an easy mistake to make, but it should also be an easy mistake to spot. And they wrote it up and submitted it and published it, printed it, with no one noticing. No one noticing. I am a technical writer by trade. That would be embarrassing if it had happened anywhere in my vicinity. Even in the small technical writing department that I was in last year, near the end, it was me and my supervisor. So when I would write something, the supervisor would read through it. And if there was a problem, he would say, gotta fix this. Or if it was something small like this, maybe he would fix it himself. Commit the changes in our revision control system, and that'd be that. Or, you know, someone in marketing would review it. So I don't know if it was AT&T or Samsung or what, because this is the AT&T specific quick start guide. For more information, manage your account with my AT&T, etc. and so forth. So I don't know who is responsible for involuted, but it is a little shameful. Let's see. Yes. So fingerprint took some work to figure out why it wasn't doing what it was supposed to, but eventually we found the setting, and by we I mean the sales lady. So that was set up. They gave the phone a call, and it worked. So that was cool. Then I took it home and started setting up email. Once I remembered my email password, because that's one of the things that just kind of sits there in a browser, and I don't log out of it very often, and it doesn't prompt me to re-enter my password very often, so I don't remember it very often. But eventually I figured it out, entered the password, and then I got an email from Yahoo, who is the email provider for the family email, saying sign-in attempt prevented. Not the usual, you know, security settings of, we noticed there is a new sign-in from a different device or browser that you'll see, that sort of thing very often these days. Lots of online games do that, and Steam does that, etc. This was sign-in attempt prevented. It just blocked it. And the error message on the phone was either the username is wrong, or the password is wrong, or the account isn't set up for it. And so the reason it prevented this sign-in attempt was the app doesn't meet Yahoo's security standards. Now, I don't know what Yahoo's security standards are for mail apps. They don't say what they are. It could be an actual shortcoming in Samsung's default mail app, or it could be that Yahoo would really rather you use their mail app because ads or something. I don't know. But point was, not a great user experience to have that blocked. Not sure if anyone's to blame for that sort of thing, if any fault can be found, because I don't know if Yahoo actually reviewed other mail apps and found them lacking. And I don't know if Samsung has the capability of detecting why a mail sign-in didn't work. But anyway, it was doesn't work. Something's wrong. It was basically error, no worky. Great. Basically as informative as when an Android app crashes. It says it crashed, right? Would have liked to see the traceback for this error as well. So that didn't work, but I went for the option of going into my Yahoo account settings and saying allow apps that don't meet Yahoo standards. Just deal with it, right? And it's like, okay. Then I tried again and it worked. Great. Let's see. Oh, when I got into the Mail app, it showed me a screen asking for, for me to choose some initial settings. It asked for a sync schedule and a sync period. I have no idea what those are. I have not had a smartphone before, so when I want email, I go to my PC with, a really nice screen on this one compared to phones. Instead of being like this big, it's this big. I can't even like show you because dual 22-inch monitors. That's what you should use. They're not expensive these days. Anyway, I think they're like 150-ish each. It's not too bad. I'm not going to recommend you get 3 4K screens. I'm not going to do that. Some people do that. Codinghorror.com. That's Jeff Atwood's blog. He's one of the co-founders of Stack Overflow. And now he tells people to buy $2,000 worth of monitors. And like $3,000 worth of mini PC. In one of his recent blogs, he suggested that people buy a mini PC and then a dock for it. And then you get this dock and you put your mini PC into there. And then you get a graphics card and you plug it into the dock and then connect that to the mini PC. Now, the dock costs $500. And all you've really accomplished is paying more. You could buy a non-mini PC, like a regular tower case, right? And install some components and put a graphics card in there. Just like build a normal PC. If you want to upgrade it and put a nice graphics card in there, just do it. Because all you really accomplish with the mini PC and a dock is a case inside the case, or a computer inside the computer, depending on how you want to look at it. But you've got your computer, which is the dock, that's the chassis, and then you've got another box inside there with most of the computer, and then the graphics card as well. Only costs $500 to connect this stuff, and then you end up spending like $3,000 to $5,000 on really just a basic setup, right? Anyway, so when I want mail, I just go to my computer and I go to mail in a browser, right? Pretty simple. So I didn't know what the sync schedule is and the sync period. I just I had a strong urge to mouse over them and read the tooltip, but that user interface paradigm does not exist in smartphones. It doesn't, because there's no mouse. You just poke at things. If you want to right click, you hold, press and hold, and then eventually it gives you a menu. That's like a Mac from the 90s. That paradigm sucks. I'm going to tell you right now. The touchscreen interface is bad if you want to get actual work done. Anything that requires a context menu, which is everything, even in smartphones, because they had to put that workaround in there. It couldn't just be poke. We need a context menu, or else no one will be able to do anything. How do you make a touch menu for a small computer? It doesn't work out very well. I mean, once you finish getting everything set up, and if you never want to change anything, then maybe it's sufficient to just have poke. But I really wanted to mouse over that and be like, what is this? And there's no help thing. It's just like screen with a radio button and a text element, and a radio button, text element. And I'm like, what is this? And my dad was with me and checking it out. And I'm like, Dad, what does this mean? Because he has a smartphone. Presumably he's dealt with this kind of setting before. And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what these are. Not like I don't know which is the best, setting to pick 2 weeks or 1 week. I don't know what these mean. I googled them, not super useful. So I was like, I don't know. I don't have the patience. And I just next. Default value is probably fine, right? And then it loaded my mail, and it started loading the inbox. Gave a little loading animation with like a bar going, right? And it starts saying, counting up how many unread messages, and it keeps loading and loading, and eventually the unread messages counter stops, and it keeps showing the loading animation, and I'm like, is it still doing stuff? Still downloading things? Because I have lots of email stored on the server. Is it going to fetch everything ever? I have no idea. Because it was still going. And that takes, data and battery power. So I was like, is it going to stop at some point? I looked into a different mailbox category, like inbox, outbox or something, and went back to inbox. And the loading bar was not there anymore. I don't know if it was just stuck, or if it stopped right then, or what. No idea. Okay. Next thing, I have a little notepad dealy with all the things that went wrong. The internet app, a browser, basically. I opened it and it said, location unavailable. Use browser location. And the use browser location text was a clickable link, hyperlink to something. So I poked it and nothing happened. I'm like, I don't know. And it didn't have any option to close it or hide it or anything. So I'm like, okay. And I went to websites, Google and search whatever, and the message went away. I'm like, great. Close the internet app, open it again. It's not there anymore. So I don't know whether the error message just was not needed anymore, and I needed to refresh the display in some way for it to go away. Kind of like the indefinitely loading mail stuff. I don't know if it was that, or if actually browsing to a site told it to go get location information and resolve the error, or whether it just hid the error. And if I tried to, go to Yelp and get a restaurant near me or something, then it would say, oh, I can't do that because location unavailable or something. I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I don't know what happened with that error. It disappeared, and that was it. It's actually pretty good because I had to pay attention to other errors. So, I don't know why, but smartphones these days don't come with a real file explorer. If you open File Explorer, which used to be called just My Computer in any Windows machine, or I guess the Finder in Mac probably is a thing, and I'm sure every Linux flavor has something. Where are your files? They're generally in some directory structure, but where? This version of Android on this phone has a My Files app that you can possibly find in the maybe I can find it and show you what it does, which is a little weird. So I'm gonna go to apps. I have a bunch of apps, right? But what are they? You have to go into Samsung. Right here is the Samsung app group or something. It is not a Samsung app. It is all of these Samsung apps. And then you can see, I hope, there we go. You can see my files. And then we can go to my files and we see, you know, stuff. So that's great. But in this view, you can't see connected devices. And this particular phone has a feature called USB OTG, on the go, which basically means that this phone can be a host, not just a device. Like if you plug your phone into a computer, your computer will be like, oh, you connected a phone, you connected a device. Just like if you connect a mouse or a USB drive, the computer will go, oh, I can handle that. This phone, and probably many others with this feature, can handle that role. Instead of just being a device and the computer has to handle something, they can be a host. And so you can plug in a keyboard or a mouse or a USB flash drive or whatever, and it will handle it. So I used accessory that came with the device. This little dealie. It's got a USB Type A plug, like the actual universal standard, and micro USB. And so this allows you to, for example, flash drive, plug into the thing, and then you plug it into the phone, and etc. Right? And then you can read your files from the flash drive on the phone. So I'm like, great, that is what I will use to put my custom ringtone on there. Because I've been using a custom ringtone on my old phone for years and years, and I'm not gonna stop now, especially when I have a phone with more than 2 megabytes of memory, right? So I plug it in, and the activity LED starts blinking, like detected, and right, accessing, installing drivers, or whatever it's doing, and then it stops blinking because it's done doing that. And then there was nothing on the phone, no indication that anything had happened. If you plug a USB device into a Windows machine, it notices and it figures if you're plugging in a device, maybe you want to use the device. What a concept. So it will then, in the older versions of Windows, like XP and that sort of thing, it would pop a dialog box and say, what do you want to do with the device? Do you want to play all the media files in it, or just open it as a folder? Just open it as a folder is the most useful thing, and then you can figure out what you want to do for yourself. But this one did nothing. So I was like, okay, maybe I can... Oh, and I Googled for this, and it said it will show something on your phone. It doesn't do that. So I went into the My Files, and external devices are not listed in there. It's more of a My Documents than a My Computer, and My Computer is what would be desirable there, because it's a computer running on ARM architecture, which is kind of wacky, but I think it's still used for like power saving stuff. x86 is would not be nice to batteries or something, I don't know. But point is, I couldn't get to that. So I was like, okay, I guess I have to install an app that I'm already familiar with because of installing it on my sister's phone. ES File Explorer is the popular one. It's basically an actual file explorer, because the devices don't come with one. Why can't they include a better one? I will never understand why they don't do that. Basic stuff. But I went to get that. Um, so I open the Google Play Store. That's where you get apps. Browsing around in apps that I want to find. Android phones generally have a dedicated back button. There's an app switch, a home button, and a back. There's no forward. So I was like, oh, back over there. Oh, yes, I did want to go there. And I was like, where's the forward? And I tried, swiping around, but it just acted as a scroll, because that's how you swipe. You go, that's how you scroll. You go, right? I was like, well, I want to, go to the next screen. Move this to the side and let me go to what's, forward over there. But no, it was in a different, it was like, you want to scroll this, right? And I'm like, no, couldn't find that. So anyway, that was another minor inconvenience. I've been talking about minor inconveniences in this phone for about half an hour. So I think you can guess that there were more than enough minor inconveniences to be a large pain in the ass. Let's see which one to do next. So, I was connected to Wi-Fi. It was going fast because we have AT&T Uverse. It's fiber. We get they say 45 megabit down speed, but we don't get 45. We get 50 because we get 50 instead of 45. It's good. We tried to get Comcast several months ago. Dark times. They broke a dozen appointments over 2 days, and then they came into our house and disconnected our internet and didn't know what to do and left. And they said they would be back early the next morning. They weren't. We called and they said we can get someone in there in 2 weeks. They had a thing where we're so confident that we'll have good service that if we miss an appointment, you get $20 or $50 or something. They missed 10 appointments. We never got anything from that. And then when they did come, they broke it. And then they broke another appointment of trying to go there and fix it. And then they're like, we're not going to go there at all. We just decided not to. So we're like, By that point, we had no phone, no internet. If we wanted to pick up the phone and call 911, it would not work. They just disconnected and we're like, I don't know, I'll be back in a couple weeks. And so then we called AT&T, with whom we had DSL, and then wanted to go to Comcast. It was like, okay, faster. And we're like, please, help. And they were like, we will help you. I think we were a couple days without internet and phone. That was their earliest appointment. But the appointed time of the appointment came, and a tech from AT&T came to our house at that time and hooked us up with the fiber, and then we had 50 megabit. Every few months it goes down for 5 minutes ish, which is kind of annoying, but it's minor, whatever. I'm not it's not like I'm trading stocks and it's losing me 10 grand if I miss out on an opportunity for a few minutes, whatever. Maybe I can't connect to a game or something. But what was I even talking about? Connected with the thing, Comcast. Where am I? Yes. So I went into the App Store, reading my list here. Went into the App Store, connected to Wi-Fi. It's fast. It's good. It's all responding nice and snappily. and I go to download an app. My dad also said you have to download the WhatsApp app, because that's how we apparently do messaging internationally for our family. A lot of family is in Brazil and some in Israel, etc. So kind of that's how we do it. So he's like, this is, you have to get this app at the very least. I'm like, okay. So I went to download WhatsApp, and I'm like, download. 10 or 15 minutes later, error code 495. Couldn't do it. Couldn't download the app. Error code 495. I don't know what error code 495 is. Google does. But have fun figuring out how to solve error code 495. I also couldn't get the File Explorer app. I couldn't get apps at all. It didn't work. And I'm like, maybe I can watch a YouTube video. I have a Kindle, which is a version, runs a sort of Android-ish thing. It's an Android build of some flavor. Tried the YouTube app. It didn't really work. Should be able to watch videos on that. YouTube videos don't work in the Silk browser, and the YouTube app doesn't work, doesn't load videos. So I was like, maybe in this one, I'll be able to watch videos, just like everyone else, right? Everyone watches videos on their phone, whether you're, at a friend's house or at a restaurant or in a movie theater. You can watch your little YouTube video instead of doing whatever you want there to do. If you just want to watch a YouTube video, do it at home. Don't go out. There's no reason. It's stupid. Like, you didn't need to drive to a restaurant to watch YouTube videos. You can do that from wherever. On a big screen. Amazing concept. Anyway, didn't work. Just has the little spinny loading screen thing. So I'm like, that's not good. So I noticed a kind of common theme there of seems to internet just fine, but then do something slightly more involved and it falls flat on its face. So via the magic of Google, I determined that it's a problem with Wi-Fi. I turned off Wi-Fi and used 4G and download apps and view videos. My test video, by the way, was 3 Inches of Blood, Infinite Legions, which is a very excellent song. If you ever need something motivational and exciting, Infinite Legions. I will paste a link to one of the videos. I will put that in the description and the and an annotation somewhere over here, around 38-minute mark. I will do that, and it didn't work. I'm like, okay, with Wi-Fi. Now, Wi-Fi, when connected to a home network, is generally faster and has a much higher data cap than mobile networks do. So if I'm at home with, reasonable internet here, it makes sense to be able to use that instead of always being on the cell network all the time, right? So long story short, for that particular problem, it doesn't work. Wi-Fi on the S7 Edge is defective, is the moral of the story. My dad spoke with Samsung and had a chat conversation with their support system, and they took remote access of the phone to try to figure it out. Let's turn off the mobile data, try to wipe the cache partition on the device and check the thing, what's it, power it off, press and hold the volume up key and the home key, then press and hold the power key. It's like really? When the device vibrates, release only the power key. When the Android system recovery menu displays, release the volume up and the home key. This is like that, I think, Penny Arcade comic, where they're looking at a Yahoo map or something, and it's like, go to the end of the road, you will see a bird. The bird will not tell you anything, but he will point to a man, and the man has a direction to the bar, and I will see if I can find that and post a link somewhere at 41. And bought it at a store, blah blah blah, and basically it didn't work. I was like, huh. And apparently this whole things don't work on Wi-Fi, only on the cell network, is a common problem with the S7 Edge. A known issue that is known only to people who buy an S7 Edge and then try to watch some YouTube videos at home with their new phone, and it doesn't work. It is not known to support technicians at Samsung. It is not known to sellers of the phone, I guess. They're not they are not paid enough to know about that sort of thing, quite frankly. And it is not known to people who are considering buying one, because if you go look up the specs of a smartphone, it's not going to tell you, oh, and by the way, this model has problems with Wi-Fi sometimes. You're not going to find that. I mean, I know that this dealie has a Qualcomm 820 Snapdragon CPU. That's in the specs. And a benchmark score of like 130K. It's quite significant. It's good. It's quad core. There's some octa cores out there, but it's a good processor, and pretty high res screen, 2500 by whatever, 1440 or something. But what would have been really nice to know is that Wi-Fi doesn't work. That would have been great. Because when I buy a product or service, I'm buying the product or service, not the description of the product or service. If you have some lovely doodad, and on the back of the box it says slices, dices, does your laundry, that's all well and good, but if it doesn't actually slice and dice and do your laundry, it's not really a good purchase, is it? Especially if you wanted that feature, right? So that's, and I really am not, I'm not partial to an 820 Snapdragon processor and a 25 something by 1440 resolution, OLED, whatever. It's very nice. The monitors I use all day, every day, are not even IPS in plane switching. So if you go, above and below them with the viewing angle, they appear to have different contrast and brightness, whatever. But if it says there is a feature, if it says you can do something, it had better do it. I mean, my Nokia 2610 makes no claims about accessing rich media apps or, whatever. And it doesn't do those things, but it doesn't say it does those things. So it's fine. I only expected it to send and receive calls and voice messages and text messages. That's it. And it does that beautifully. I have to charge it like every couple weeks. Sometimes I'll look at it and be like, oh, I only have, 28%. And by 28%, I mean 2 bars of 7. I should probably charge it, this week, right? But the Wi-Fi doesn't work on the S7 Edge. That sounds preposterous to me, but there you have it. Anyway, I turned off the Wi-Fi and downloaded WhatsApp and downloaded ES File Explorer. And then with ES File Explorer, I could view the USB device that I'd plugged in and get my ringtones. And I selected those and copy, and then go to the music folder, and paste is unavailable. It is grayed out. Why can't I paste here? I don't know. I never figured that out, but I went to the downloads folder and I could paste into there. I have no idea. But got those in there. And then I went into settings to set my ringtone. And I'm like, okay, for the ringtone, pick scroll, pick this one from that folder and whatever. For the notification, I have a different one. Even on my Nokia, I had Metal Storm Faceless Layer, a bit from there for the ringtone, and the ringtone used in Metalocalypse for the Death Phones, for the text message and voicemail notification. I will link to those in the annotation and description. I like linking to things, it's fun. Storm and so I went looking for the notification sound that I had put in there, and it wasn't in the list of notification sounds that were available. And I'm like, that's odd. I mean, I guess I need the other folder, the downloads folder. No, it's not there. So on I go to Google again, and turns out you have to put them into the notifications folder for them to be visible. You have to manually put them there. You can't just say, I want a notification sound, and I will look in here for them. No, you can't do that. You have to put them into the notification folder. Doesn't say why. There's no, how do I access other locations? You don't. You put them into the notifications folder, and then they'll be visible. That's how it works. Doesn't tell you anything, but fortunately, Google. And you can go and be like, that's great. So I put them in there, and then I could select it, and then I had my ringtones. Fantastic. And so that ended up working. Wanting to test whether YouTube worked with without Wi-Fi turned on. Go in the browser, go to YouTube, and as soon as you go to youtube.com, it says this will open in the YouTube app. And I'm like, okay, I didn't see such a thing in the installed list. By default, it was available, but okay, fine. And every time I wanted to go there, I would go to the browser and go to YouTube and then click OK for the opening in YouTube. And I'm like, maybe I can just go here directly. That would be great. So I go to the installed apps and it's not there. And then I search for YouTube and there it is. I'm like, I would like to make this more readily available. I want to put it in the home screen, something. Basically, pile all the crap on the desktop, right? I don't know if you've seen my actual desktop, but I can show you for sure. This is my primary monitor on the left. Notice there's nothing here, no icons. And this is my secondary monitor on the right, no icons. I don't put anything on the desktop. But in the Android paradigm, that is all you can do. What am I still doing here? Not this, that. There we go. In the Android paradigm, you dump everything on the desktop. And by Android, I mean the touch interface device. Android, iPhone, iOS. Is there anything else? Or is there just two? Probably BlackBerry as well. Is that still a separate thing? I think there's still a company. You can still buy BlackBerry devices. They look like a regular smartphone with a physical keyboard on the bottom. We don't need that anymore. There's a touch screen. That's the whole... I mean, it's a touchscreen phone, and they put a keyboard on the bottom with like tiny... I don't know. Maybe it's a little faster. You can go instead of... Kind of annoying way to type. So I wanted to do that to make it easier to access. Start menu something would have been good. But search for a YouTube app, and there it is. And I press and hold, and I'm like, can I drag it somewhere? And it's like, no, and there's no context menu. So I'm like, okay. Off to Google. Again. How do I pin a shortcut for something from the search? And eventually I found that it is, you cannot pin things that were found via search. You have to go to the basically canonical location, which in this case, this is how I found out about app groups. It's in the Google app groups, because YouTube is owned by Google, right? So you click on the Google app, and it doesn't launch the Google. It opens basically a folder of apps. So that's great. And then I could, you know, put it where I wanted to put it. And what else? Was that it? I got fingerprint, mail. Can't download apps. Error 495. YouTube videos. Flash drive. Forward button would be nice. Location unavailable. App group. Can't paste with the music folder. Oh, there was one more. One of the things we tried to make Wi-Fi work was turn off the enhanced 4G LTE. I don't know what the heck it does, but some websites said you gotta turn that off for Wi-Fi to work properly, and we tried turning it off and deactivating Wi-Fi and turning it back on, and no, that does not work. Another site I found said instead of using DHCP, which is a dynamically assigned IP address, use a static IP. And I tried that, and then internet didn't work at all. And so I changed back to DHCP, and then I got YouTube-less internet and app-less internet, like I had before. But and one more thing. I wanted to give the audio files that I had transferred over for ringtones more descriptive names, because the file names, when you go into the Explorer, you can, my files, you can change the name, rename, it's fine, it works. But then you're looking at it in the list of available ringtones or notification tones, it does not show the file name. It shows the title field of the ID3 info. If you're not familiar with ID3, it's basically a collection of metadata for MP3 files. There's a few versions. As far as I know, the latest is ID3 V2. And It just adds more possible metadata, and that's how you can store the name of the track and the name of the artist and the composer and the year, comments if you want, and a lot of programs can locate those data and retrieve them and display them. It's pretty convenient. Like if you have a music player in the car or something, if you have an MP3 CD and the MP3 files have a useful ID3 tag, then you can maybe show the track name or the artist or whatever. My car is from '06 and it has that. It doesn't have anything else, but it can read MP3 CDs, and that's what I use. So it works fine for me. But anyway, in this phone, you can change the file name, but it's not what shows up when you're looking for files, when you're looking for ringtones, I should say. And you cannot change the ID3 metadata, which is what shows up. So there's multiple fields, and there's one that you can customize to suit your needs, and there's the one that matters. So that's incredibly fun. Am I in focus? Have I been out of focus this whole time after changing back to focus? That's fine. That's fine. So that was a little annoying. So my notification tone is called ringtone, because that was the title of the thing. And my ringtone has the full track name that that the snippet is taken from. Metal Storm and Face the Slayer. It's a little long, but whatever. But the real deal breaker is feature doesn't work. Wi-Fi. I can't. Oh, and my dad also tested CNN video clips. Didn't work over the Wi-Fi. So basically, any rich media type of content, anything that isn't I'm going to visit an HTML web page and download the HTML source and have my browser render it, breaks. Can't do it. Isn't that stupid? And it's an $800 phone plus $100 tax, and I was gonna buy $100 of accessories because the various websites are saying like these phones don't really last the whole day. You have your phone and then you go out to do a thing, and then like 6 or 7 hours later it's out of juice. You've got literally nothing, down to 0, 100 to 0 in like 7 hours. It's like, it's a far cry from the few weeks that I'm used to with my phone, with my Nokia. So I was gonna get like an external battery that you can, plug in and charge devices. A case, because this is beautiful, slick aluminum and glass, and not really incredible rubber grip thing around it. This is plastic for this front bezel, and a slightly different kind of plastic for this, and this is rubber. And of course it's smaller, so it's lighter than smartphones these days. Very easy to hold, and there's no you don't have to worry about pressing the hang up call if you hold it. Like, I have to hold it like this instead of like just grip it with because maybe you'll hit video chat and then someone can see inside your ear. You don't want that, right? But this is fine. I didn't need any accessories for this because the battery lasts forever, and I don't need a case. If I drop it on the floor, maybe the battery cover will fall off and the battery pops out. But then you put the battery back in, you put the cover back on, and you turn it back on, and it's fine. It's like maybe it comes apart, but it goes back together. It's not really a problem. And I have a Maxpedition holster for it. It's pretty good Maxpedition stuff. So that's like $1,000 of phone stuff that would have been nice to have work, but it doesn't. You would think that instead of adding features that don't really matter, gotta move to a Snapdragon, you know, the 820, the 810 is it's yesterday's stuff. Or, you know, whatever. You'd think they'd go, I can't watch YouTube over the Wi-Fi. Maybe one of the engineers was like with the test unit and he was like, I know what I could do to, I mean, I have a phone, I'm kind of bored at work, right? I'll go to YouTube and connect to the Wi-Fi and watch the thing. Oh, it doesn't work. Why do you know? Well, I'm not supposed to be doing this anyway, so I should probably, you know, keep it under my hat. Maybe he found it, and then they're like, were you wasting time at work? Do you not have anything to do that we're paying you for? Goodbye. Or who knows? Who knows? But it's a common problem with the S7 Edge. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. I don't expect a lot from Wi-Fi. I expect it to be extremely laggy and slow and unreliable. On a 50 megabit connection, you can maybe get 15 or 20 megabit on devices that advertise, you know, up to 150, whatever, with the receiver and the router like right next to each other. And it's like, it's just, Wi-Fi isn't very good. There's a reason that I have a physical Ethernet cable going into my computer, and there's a reason that my mouse has a cable and my keyboard has a cable. It's because it works better. But it's not because it works. Note, it's because it works better. I still expect the wireless stuff to kind of, you know, be able to access the thing in general, rather than like some kind of error. It's actually broken. It's not just like slow, maybe some interference or something. It just plain doesn't work. So, I don't know if that's a super entertaining stream or an educational stream. It's not gaming, it's not Python, but this is what I have to talk about today. Maybe it'll help someone who's considering getting an S7 Edge. Don't buy one, because they don't work. I don't know why. It's brand new. It's not like I've been doing a whole bunch of random stuff and, you know, 4 months down the line, some setting that I did for something else to root the phone and whatever. No. Did everything by the book. I bought it, plugged it into charge, took it to the store to activate, set up the fingerprint lock. Looks good. Take it home, put my mail on there. Wi-Fi doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And remember, the reason I got a common Samsung, like it's their top of the line current flagship model. The reason I got one in the first place was because my dad thought that one of these smaller brands would just be a lot of headache. Take my frustration level through the roof, as he put it. And this phone has been nothing but problems. Nothing works the way I want it to work. Nothing is discoverable. I mean, after the first 3 confusing or annoying things in like a minute, I'm like, maybe I could write these down. And then I got several more. So, anyway, I'm going to be returning this thing tomorrow. Technically today, since it's a few minutes after midnight. I don't like when people do that. I'll see you later today What? It's it's technically after midnight, so it will be today when go away. It's like, no, no, I won't see you today, but you will because it's after midnight. No, because I'm not gonna hang out with you because you're annoying. Anyway, when I go to sleep, it is night, and when I wake up, that is morning. So tomorrow morning, I'll be returning this phone. It doesn't work. It boggles the mind that it's basically a lemon in this day and age for the flagship model, even when using the involuted charger, right? I will be putting some sort of descriptive text of the Wi-Fi doesn't work on these in the title and description. So if you just like search for things about the S7, you will see in the title, the Wi-Fi doesn't work. Be warned. It's preposterous. Absurd. It just makes me kind of speechless. Boggles my mind. But there you have it. I only got it yesterday. Yesterday, not 2 days ago. I don't care that it's 13 minutes after midnight. I'll be returning it. And they'll be like, oh, something wrong with it? And I'll be like, yeah. The Wi-Fi doesn't work on these models. It's a known issue. But to find out, I had to buy one and run into the issue and research myself after buying it. And you had better believe that I spent dozens of hours researching phones. Speaking of which, gsmarena.com, I think. GSM Arena is a nice database of phones. You can find phones and look up the specs. And an interactive, a dynamic comparison website, kimovil.com, KIMOVIL.com, allows you to look up phones in their database and add them to basically a comparison cart, and then you can hit compare and it compares the features side by side with a whole bunch of stuff, and with like a rating for various segments, like design, which is the body and the dimensions and stuff, display, performance, etc. Pretty handy site. Kind of disappointed. Just a little disappointed in this phone that doesn't work. So I'm gonna return it tomorrow, and maybe if I can find if the AT&T store or something, or Best Buy, I doubt it, but if Best Buy somewhere has an Android phone newer than 4.4 for like $50 or something, maybe I could get one of those. Doesn't have to be amazingly fast and fancy with the curved screen. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, the screen is kind of curved in the. Can't really see that. But let's see if I can demonstrate. Back. Can you kind of see? Yeah, you can see that it is curved, and it the actual, it's not just the glass screen. The actual display is in the shows up in the curved portion. So amazing. I didn't care. I was just like, might as well get the flagship. What's it? Maybe it'll, retail therapy. It'll make me happy briefly. A whole bunch of junk I don't care about. And the few things that I do care about don't work. So if I can get a phone that doesn't include all the junk I don't care about, but works, maybe that'll be good. And then I can watch, what was it, a 9-minute montage of you plugging the cable to the PC and then to the phone, and then you have to look for a driver and it might not work. And you go here and you go there. There's an updated website. This might not look the same. I'm taking the Udacity course on beginner Java Android stuff. I took 3/4, almost 3/4. I took classes on Java a couple years ago. Initially liked it, but eventually hated it and decided on Python being much, much better. But I'm taking that class, and there's a section on connecting an Android device to your computer so you can actually run your code on something and view tracebacks in the ADB debugger. It's 9 minutes long, and it's a montage, like I said. It's not a step-by-step thing. It just describes you'll do this, and however long that takes. And then there's something to download, and you should probably install it. Find the right one for your phone model, I hope. I don't like installing drivers. Last time I tried to install drivers, I believe, was for a printer, trying to get it to, trying to connect a network printer to a Microsoft Surface 2. Not the Pro, just Surface 2. That is an ARM device, not x86. So it looks like Windows, but it's Windows RT. That's not Windows. It's a different Windows, built for ARM, again. They don't have drivers for that. It does not work. It's like I have my Windows tablet thing, and I want to print. You can't. Okay, the printer manufacturer had some models that were compatible, but with like limited functionality for ARM devices, and some that weren't listed, and they said if it's not listed, it doesn't work at all. And the one I was trying to connect wasn't listed at all. That was an embarrassing day trying to help someone with their printer, and it's like, it does not work. Anyway, that is my story. Only spent a couple days, basically 30-ish hours, because I got it at like 5-ish yesterday. Now it's midnight. 32 hours. And the Wi-Fi on the Galaxy S7 Edge doesn't work. If everything else was the same, but the Wi-Fi worked fine, I would probably not be returning it. I'd be like, this is just how it works. I want to learn Android development, even though the development environment is ridiculous. Download 1.5 GB just to get started, and the language is like 300 meg, and everything is slow as molasses. But useful skill, marketable skill for, job-wise. But so I could have just kept on trucking, maybe. I would be like, well, the Android experience on my PC has been awful. Nothing is pleasant in that environment to use. So I shouldn't expect the Android environment itself to be any better, right? But it doesn't work. I don't think it's okay to spend nearly $1,000 on something that doesn't work with the basic features that phones have been doing for years and years. It's not right. Flagship model. And it's broken. It is defective. It doesn't work. I don't know. Maybe the phone hardware itself is fine. and it's something in this particular Edge version, because there's like Edge apps. There's a reason for this, not a very good reason. See this little white dealie on the side? If you swipe in from this Edge, you get other stuff. See? Apps Edge, blah blah. But I'm pretty sure they could have done something like that without a curved, you know, edge of the phone. You just swipe in from the side. It's very common. Anyway, I don't understand why that's necessary, but maybe it's just this particular version of this particular version of Android. That doesn't work. I don't know. Maybe the hardware guys are sitting there and cursing the software developers that made their hardware not capable of doing stuff. But I really don't know. And I really should not care. I do care, but I shouldn't. I will tell myself, don't know, don't care. Gonna return it tomorrow, get my money back, and maybe buy a cheap Android something if I can find it. I don't know. But, yeah. It's a beautiful phone. It just doesn't work. It's got lots of features. The features just don't work. It can be... Where did I put the other one? It can be unattractive and weird. The sales lady at the AT&T store said, "Wow, I'm surprised it's in such wonderful condition." I mean, doesn't it look pretty much new? I mean, if you get it in the light just right, you can sort of see it's a little rough around the edges, just a little bit here. Maybe you can't really see. Now you can sort of see with the reflection on there. Kind of. It's nearly pristine. The screen is a little bit careworn. A little bit. It's not bad. It's not like I put my smartphone in my pocket and then I took it out of my pocket and the corner of the screen was chipped by, I don't know what, the weight of the phone or something. Nokia doesn't do that. They don't stand for that. They didn't stand for that. Now they stand for disappearing from the face of the earth because everyone wants a smartphone for no reason that I can comprehend. It's a bunch of garbage. Terrible user experience. I hate using touchscreen stuff. I want to be able to right click and mouse over. There's mouse over, there's click, and there's click more. That's 3 levels of interaction, all of which do something different. Clicking on something uses it in the standard way. Mousing over it gets you maybe a little more information about it before you do something with it. And right-clicking gives you other options of stuff to do with that specific widget. Touchscreens, you can touch it, and that is it. It is awful. Awful. Maybe I'll get a phone and install a mouse. And whenever I want to do stuff, I'll set up a little table, little desk surface of some kind, have my phone and you know, click around with the mouse. Go here and right click on all that stuff. I'm doing the right clicky motion. I don't like touchscreens. I don't like gimmicks. I don't like things that look fancy but don't work. anyway, thank you for watching. Sorry if you were expecting Python today. At best, 2 days from now, because tomorrow will be gaming of some kind. And day after that, Python, maybe. I don't know. I might try F#, and I'll be reading a tutorial and being like, how do I print stuff? Oh, neat. And how do I write a function? Oh, cool. So that's the stream for today. I hope it will have been more than worth it if I save one person from going through the hassle of getting an S7 Edge and realizing that it didn't work. So yeah, I will add the various annotations and links, etc. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed in some fashion, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.